Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Connor on Connor's Retribution Analysis, and today we have Vyros 2 versus Calus 1, which should be a lot of fun. I've never had the pleasure or displeasure of playing against Calus 1. I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder. I'm a little bit excited for it. I'd like to see what he does, what he brings to the table. So who better to figure out what Calus 1 does than Vyros 2? So let's get started. My opponent goes first. This is Spread the Net. It is one of the many very live scenarios that is in the new scenario packet, although it is an older scenario. And I know that Calus 1 is very good at scoring scenario. But let's see how badly I can mess this up. He takes a lot of board space, and I originally deployed this Trident thinking I would just hop on over this other side of that house, but based on how he got so far forward, I now realize that if I do that, I'm just going to absolutely get trashed. The birds will be able to charge me, and maybe a Hellmouth charges me first and gets some damage on me. The birds will be able to charge with Finisher. The Chosen will be able to charge. There should be some Ignite. I'll probably lose the Trident for nothing if he hops over that house. So now I'm stuck in a really awkward position where I got to put the Trident over here or behind the house where I can't see anything. I know that the best course of action for him from watching and hearing about Calus 1 is just to fly his birds into my face, pop feet. It's a really boring strategy. It's a lame strategy, but I think, from what I have seen and how it makes sense, it is the best strategy with Calus 1. For scoring scenario as a result. And I kind of know that going into this, and I'm trying to prepare for it with how I do this turn. I do not like where my Trident is going to end up, though. So to kind of prepare for things, I want to put a Griffin here that I can potentially unjam and get over to that flag. Imperatus, Vyros 2, and some Griffins are going to be in this middle. Manicord is going to be right here and put out a Covering Fire template, and the reasoning for that is I can stay out of 12 and put some Griffins over here, maybe bait in a Chosen, and I can get farther up without taking damage, because right now I need to grab some territory. So I can do a little bit of a skew and potentially be able to score this flag and kind of fight back, because I doubt with everything that he's got over here that I'm going to be able to contest that flag much this game. Just the way I deployed and how my forces are. I really want to use this forest, and I could maybe use that cloud, and maybe I should have deployed a little bit more centrally. But then he'd be scoring this back zone over there. So decisions. And here we are. So his turn, and he pretty much agrees with me. Fly everything in and jam. Pop feet, get Calus right to here. Because of this obstruction that was over here, he had to run the Blightbringer. More ideally, he has to run the Blightbringer this turn to get the armor buff. But more ideally, he just walks up, keeps his Chosen in range, and can shoot and put down an AoE somewhere of his choosing. I mean, unless I shield guard it, but roughly of his choosing, that will give his Chosen more armor and make them more survivable. So we end up with a board state that's like this. Calus is right there behind the forest. I'm not under any... He has Elusive up, the Animi from the Harrier. I'm not under any illusions that I'm going to assassinate him this turn. Sure, I have 3 Griffins that can potentially reach him. So sounds good on paper, except for his feet's up, so I'm somehow going to have to clear all these birds that are in the way, which are going to turn into higher defense Incubi, and then there's 2 Chosen in the way as well. I just don't see it happening. However, I do see the potential of Imperatus charging and possibly killing this Blightbringer. And I feel like that would be fantastic. The Blightbringer is giving a strength buff, an armor buff, and it can also get lots of work done against my models because it has 8 attacks that are all around my armor. So if I can peace trade, and that's the real thing that I want to do this turn, is contest scenario and peace trade. So I really want to get a Griffin right there into that space. Ideally, I'd like to kill these 3 models with a slam from either Griffins or the Magister. and then score this flag. And I'm going to just plan on giving up this zone because this Griffin is so far jammed, and Trident can't help him out. I was hoping Trident would be able to get up into the party and shoot a path for Griffin to zip through, but my opponent blocked that Griffin in with his birds, and I don't have any tools to unjam him. So Griffin is not going to be able to get over there and unjam that flag as planned. Well played by my opponent. So that was the plan. What actually ends up happening is I kill a whole bunch of birds and I kill a whole bunch of the incubi that pop out, and Imperatus just can't get through all this junk to get to the Blightbringer, and he awkwardly ends up right in front of the Blightbringer, just hanging out there with the whole army in his face. I slam this Chosen with a 4-dice POW 15 that knocks it down into the tentacle, and I think I roll like a 7 or something on damage, and the thing heals up and is fine. So the Chosen lived. The tentacle didn't really care about the POW 8 single dice damage roll. Even if I roll 6, it's still a 14, not going to kill it. So I fail to clear the zone, or to clear off this flag, and more or less I just struggled to get work done on his Callous Feet. And it sounds pretty reasonable now that I've played through the Callous Feet that I should have set way less aggressive goals. But now I know. Kind of a hard lesson learned. I didn't get the work I needed to get done, so I need to kind of treat it like a Zal 2 feat. But there is something different between the Zal feat and this feat, in that I can specifically clear specific birds so that a Griffin can get somewhere meaningful, maybe kill a Chosen, and clear specific birds like right over here so that another Griffin can get over to, say, here. And the goal should be to unjam Griffins that I can run into the face of Blightbringers and Chosen so that they can't counterattack next turn. Because potentially one Griffin can tie up a Blightbringer or can tie up a whole unit of Chosen if they're bunched together. And that would set me up very well because it would allow me to take ground. If I can get other Griffins farther up as well, I can pop feet and I can contest scenario and use my feet to contest scenario, which I do plan on popping feet because I do want to contest scenario, even though I didn't get as far up as I should have. We end up with a board state that looks like this. I don't feel great about how this ended up, and I think the scenario repercussions are going to be pretty bad for me. My opponent scored 1. He is guaranteed to score another, bringing himself to 2, and he is looking to get to 4 points that he can, over the next couple of turns, just close the game out on scenario while he enjoys his delicious burrito or enchilada. Enchilada. Yes, enchilada. He, however, does not quite get all the work he needs to get done. Blightbringer almost kills Imperatus. A Chosen whacks Imperatus and finishes him off. Apparently, the Dark Guidance attack, or a Chosen charged Imperatus first and rolled 3-3 on the mount attack. Crit knockdown for Imperatus, which really sucked. So everything was pretty reliable to hit after that. My opponent made the correct decision and said, hey, I don't need Dark Guidance anymore on this Blightbringer. The only thing I need it for is Imperatus. So I can run Callous somewhere safer or do whatever I want with him afterwards. Birds and Chosen attack Griffins, but overall, just not really a lot of Griffins die. This Griffin dies over here, but he doesn't have any way of scoring the zone. And this Griffin right here does not die. Two Chosen and a Harrier were not able to bring it down. And he mostly gets in my face. And as a result, he only scores 1. He also wanted to score this middle zone, but every time he kills something, I can walk a Griffin in or around using feet. So we're right here. So that actually isn't that bad for me. I am still losing pretty bad over here and over here. I'm going to have to do something about those zones. But there is I very reasonably will be able to score this flag. And now I can kill the Blightbringer. Ha ha ha. And maybe I can as long as if I can kill the Blightbringer, kill the Harrier over here, it really limits his scoring on these flanks, and I can keep in this game and hopefully just kind of play things out until I can start scoring in reverse and have our flags just like kind of cancel each other out. Because right now score is 3-0. So what ends up happening is Trident shoots up the Blightbringer, Griffins and Vyros kill a whole bunch of Chosen over here. This Griffin goes over here, and between these two Griffins, everything right here pretty much dies, if I remember right. Yes. So the Harrier's dead, so I don't have to worry about that zone. I do score this, and Arcanus is able to walk onto that flag and put concentrated power onto Griffin over here, who goes over and does that zone, multitasking like a boss. And then Vyros did Easy Rider so that Manticore could get across that water into the Blightbringer. And he can actually walk to the Blightbringer, which gives me more attacks and is more better. So it's Strength Generator. Manticore comes in at POW 23, and with the damage from the Trident, is on his last attack. There's like 7 boxes left on the Blightbringer. It's dice +4. I'm very likely to kill it. And he asked me if I have any other activations, and I start, the internal panic of why is he asking me this question? And I say no, because I didn't. And he's like, okay, I Hermit that at last attack, and Blightbringer's gonna live. I'm like, oh, no, yeah, he got me. There's a Hermit hanging out right behind the Blightbringer back there. So that sucks. And here we are. This is my Trident. So my opponent is now looking at this like, hey, it's time to get some real good scoring. Oh, he put Callus back here. I forgot to say that so he doesn't get assassinated. Because if he had left him behind this forest, that would have been the aim of my turn and just closing out the game. But yeah. Because the Blightbringer was pretty much full, and that Harrier was full, and he didn't really have any transfer targets. Yes. So, where we are now, Hermit walks over to here, does Master of Ruin. Blightbringer kills Manticore, and Chosen kill Trident. And Callus runs himself into this zone. He builds a wall so that I can't get into that zone. And that was that. Score goes to... I'm at 2 because I scored this, and he is at 5 because he scored this and this. Flipping over to my turn. Lots of stuff in my face. This little tiny proxy base is Callus. Okay. Stuff to do. Goals. My goals in life. One Griffin kills these 2 tentacles. Other Griffin goes and kills Hellmouth. I score that zone. I score this flag. Vyros, one Griffin needs to finish off the Blightbringer. Then Vyros 2 needs to thwack like everything here that he can so that a Griffin can scoot onto that corner. So Vyros 2 is a real hero, and he thwacks a whole bunch of birds, and he thwacks a Chosen. And then he quick work shoots down the Hellmouth. I don't boost damage. He rolls the 4 he needs to kill the Hellmouth tentacle. And Griffin scoots over into that corner and hangs out there and contests the flag. This other Griffin kills the Chosen and Hellmouth with concentrated power as planned. But, the most reliable part of the plan over here totally gets fudged up. One of my Griffins had a crippled spear that I didn't realize, and that was my Executioner Griffin. So he doesn't kill, he only kills one tentacle, not both tentacles. So then I have to use the other Griffin to try and free him up, and it just becomes this giant mess, and I end up in a situation where I'm blocked in, can't get to the Hellmouth, and I've committed all 3 Griffins, and I've only killed 2 tentacles. And that is a disaster. I absolutely need this point over here. So that was really bad. Past turn, score goes to 6 and 3 off of those 2 scores. And here we are. And my opponent now has 2 very solid win conditions. One win condition is kill Vyros 2, who's on a 2 camp with Dark Guidance and Awesomeness. The other win condition is score this flag, run a Chosen over here to contest. Callus comes up and kills this Griffin. He scores this, and he goes up 2 points and wins by scenario. So those are his 2 win conditions. There's absolutely no reason why he can't attempt both of them. And as you can imagine, this goes badly for me. He indeed executes, and Chosen under Dark Guidance are real good at killing Vyros 2, apparently, with the mount attacks and the charge attacks and Ignite and Master of Ruin. That's like a 4 swing on things that already hit hard, don't have a problem hitting Vyros 2. Yeah, so Vyros 2 dies. It's a defeat, but I really liked the game. I enjoyed it, and I got a good feel for Callus 1 again. I think not losing on scenario and counter jamming my opponent is the way to go. With the natural tools and Ret, I actually feel like we can play very well into Callus 1. We have a lot of low-pow accurate guns that can kind of shred the birds and shred the incubi, but I mean, that's not how I play the game, but it's available out there. Gareth, we have a lot of counterfeits and a lot of options for kind of shutting them down. Between Milas, I think Ron can just assassinate Callus 1 if he ever comes forward and tries to use his feat. We'll need to test. I can't say that for sure, but I'm just kind of hoping and suspecting that's the way it's going to go. If I play Vyros 2 again, I think the way I handle his feed is what's going to determine the game and also the scenario. If it's bunkers with the 3 flags in the middle, I don't think Vyros 2 has chops. I absolutely will not be able to kill any birds because those incubis will score flags, and then it'll just be really awkward. I'll have to focus on killing his solos that he has a decent amount of naturally. It doesn't seem like a good game to me. I think any game except for bunkers, especially if it's a dead scenario like the Invasion with the 2 circles where I can contest very easily. If I can get Griffins through his jam on his feet turn and get those Griffins in front of Chosen and just plan on losing those, I think I can win the game. Because I think that'll reestablish the lines. I don't really care about the birds being in my face. They need charges to actually kill Griffins. Dice off 9 on 3 dice isn't a problem until you have Finisher, which then it becomes... Well, yeah, then it's 3 dice. If they get the charge, then it's 4 dice, and dice off 9 on 4 dice, it gets work done. Ignite and Blightbringer can change that, but those also require work, and I can intentionally kill off more of the ignited Raw Wing, so he has to try and cycle it, which would put Callus too far forward. There's options there. The Blightbringer is also a very key model that I needed to handle way better. Ideally, I either jam it or keep his models in its way so that he can't use it the way he wants to. Because Blightbringer can walk up and remove my models without a charge. And everything else in his list needs charges, kind of, to get the work done. I had a great time with this game. My opponent was fantastic. Thank you again, and I hope everyone enjoys this video.